Welcome to this week's Risk Report. I'm Armstead Whitney, the CEO of Preparis. We're going to start in Chicago, where leaders from around the world gathered for the NATO conference hosted by President Obama. 3 men who are self-proclaimed anarchists were arrested shortly before the summit for preparing a terror attack against several targets. Now, during the summit, thousands of people protested all around the city, causing widespread disruptions. Now, as events like this occur with worldwide significance, we see protests and civil unrest increasing, especially with the role that social media now plays. So businesses should make sure they are ready to implement their business continuity plans for working remotely, accounting for staff, and also for communicating with customers. So you should use your emergency notification systems to send out frequent alerts and updates to all constituencies. We're now going to go to Joplin, Missouri, where this is now the 1-year anniversary of the costliest tornado in over 50 years that killed 161 people. Recovery is expected to cost over $2.8 billion in insurance claims. Now, the good news is 81% of the businesses destroyed or damaged have actually reopened, putting 3,000 people back to work, which is vital to the local economy there. Now, we'll continue to monitor Joplin's recovery and the lessons that are learned there. It's now also turning into hurricane season in the Atlantic. And here, many experts are forecasting a very, very busy year. Now, companies that are fully prepared for hurricanes will have a higher likelihood of protecting their staff, revenue, brand, and shareholder value. So I want to now welcome our expert climatologist, Pam Knox. Pam, what is the outlook for the 2012 hurricane season?
Well, the initial forecasts for the 2012 hurricane season are actually to have less hurricanes than the average, and certainly less than 2011 or 2010. If you remember back to those 2 seasons, there were a lot of storms, but most of them did not hit the coast of the United States, so it didn't really feel like a very active season. 2012 looks like it will be less active, although certainly we can't tell at this point where those hurricanes will hit and when.
What is driving the forecast for fewer storms, and will they be less severe?
The difference in the forecast between the active season we had last year and our less active season we're expecting this year is the phase of El Nino. El Nino is a phenomena of unusually warm water off the coast of Peru and Ecuador in the eastern Pacific Ocean, and it actually affects weather across the whole globe. But we do know in the areas where hurricanes are most likely to develop, it tends to have really strong jet streams, and those jet streams kind of blow off the top of developing hurricanes, keeping them weak or keeping them from developing at all. And so this year we expect to see an El Nino develop. That's the most likely forecast, and typically when we have that, we do have less than usual storms compared to last year.
What should businesses be doing now to prepare for the upcoming hurricane season?
Well, it's important in any weather event to be prepared well in advance. You don't want to be in this situation where you're having to scramble at the last minute to try to figure out what to do. It's important to have a plan in place. It's really good to have it written down in someplace where everybody in the company knows what they're expected to do and where they can go to get the information that they need. And the plan should include things like a review of all your insurance, what to do if you have to evacuate your personnel, how do you communicate with them so that you can find them and make sure that they know what they're doing properly. And you need to practice. You can't just have a written down plan and not practice it, because people don't remember what's in the paper, or they can't get to the paper in the crisis.
Let's wrap up in the Middle East. New video released by Al-Qaeda last week calls for sympathizers to engage in cyber terrorism against government agencies and other large companies in the U.S. The video actually describes how easy an attack is. Now, this is an example of how terrorists like Al-Qaeda are working on new ways to disrupt the economy by attacking businesses where they may be most vulnerable. So we recommend that companies of all sizes develop a strong cybersecurity plan, in addition to consider purchasing cybersecurity insurance that covers direct loss, legal liability, and other losses resulting from cybersecurity breaches. There's also a trend of many companies hiring a chief privacy officer who's responsible for overseeing all cybersecurity matters. Well, that's it for this week. We'll see you next time on the Weekly Risk Report.